And actually, I think that's the gist of your entire message. It's not about a prayer life, it's about a praying life, like you just said, I think. And this book really drives that home. Okay, I was particularly curious about the generational personalities, because I had never thought of that. I had never thought that because generations go through particular things as a generation, then they develop a particular maybe bent to their personality as a whole. I thought that was so fascinating to read the difference between my mother's generation and then my generation as a Gen X, and then my kids at Gen Z, you know, and like looking at all of that. And we hear so much, and what I love too is that we hear so much about how these generations are opposed and how they don't like each other or whatever. But what you're actually pointing out is what the fact that their particular path has shaped them a little differently, but then that we need each other. So that was really cool. How did you come up with all of that about the generational personalities?
I come from a school of never say that God gave you every word. But I really felt that was an inspiration from the Lord to be able to think of that in my own life as the daughter of the greatest generation. I'm a boomer. My kids are both Gen X and millennial. And so to try to think of like, oh, how have praying practices perhaps changed over those various decades? Because I think that particularly if you've grown up in a church experience, and I imagine some of the readers will have had that experience, then perhaps you view prayer as sort of in this kind of box or in that kind of box, that this is what we do, this is what we've done as a family, and this is so what I think it is. So it was just to simply say, okay, so if you are from that Gen X time, what might be some natural kinds of ways for you to incorporate more prayer into your lifestyle? So
yeah. And again, I feel so blessed when there's intergenerational prayer and learning from others, older and younger. And so actually, I think this particular chapter, I would recommend to anyone who is struggling to understand someone from a different generation, not necessarily about prayer, but just in general. And then I would challenge you to incorporate the element of prayer with other generations. Well, again, younger and older both. So that's really cool. Now, what do learning styles have to do with any of this?
Well, it also occurred to me that, perhaps we take in different information in different ways. Some people are simply more auditory, some are more visual in nature, some need hands-on kinds of experience. And so to think of those various, I think there are 8 different ones in the chapter, to think of those various kinds of ways that you learn best, and perhaps to think of prayer as an extension of that, or in concert with in some way.